Welcome to Vibe Osmosis. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Thanks for asking. Let's go ahead and get into it. Introduce yourself and what you do.
My name is Morgan Garrett, and I'm a musician, uh, artist, and I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm originally from Portsmouth, Ohio. I make.
Me too. I'm also from Portsmouth.
Are you from Portsmouth?
I grew up there and born there.
Oh my goodness. Where
Yeah, so
did
shout out.
where did you live in Portsmouth?
Basically near Bannon Park.
Wow. I grew up in Rosemount.
Oh, nice.
Do you know where that is?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's where I lived most of my life was in Rosemount.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's very exciting.
You have to say a little bit of hometown because I feel like every time you go back to Portsmouth, it feels like the same and also slightly different.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I was just there recently. The time that I performed in Dayton, I was there.
That's
The
right.
a few days prior. Yeah.
You just put out this really cool tape, Extreme Fantasy.
Yes.
What inspired you to start working on that album?
I think the most appropriate answer is that it would be it's really a private matter, but it's also somewhat hilarious, more of a response to some of my own inner struggles and maybe sort of making a sort of a spin on that in both like a comedically like violent way within myself, and maybe that was represented through the music and just in some parts within me that exist in this way. So I think just honing in on some strange release of stress and miscommunications in my life, which are bound to happen. But I think that tied with just a general approach to making music pretty relentlessly already, just sort of created this sound. I was also preparing for a series of like live performances before I actually put the record out. So a lot of this was made somewhat in haste to try to get some live music ready. So
Okay.
in the midst of doing that, I actually just refined the sound a little bit more for these recordings. One of the songs was written already. It's on a previous record, but I kind of reimagined it. It's the last song on the album.
Um,
Yeah.
I actually noticed, but with the Extreme Fantasy, what does the word fantasy mean to you?
Uh, maybe my first thought on that is maybe it's just something of well, obviously something of your mind, I suppose. I don't know what more there could be to to thought, but something fantastical, something strange, maybe something unreal. Yeah, something extremely unreal, you know. Characteristics of reality or maybe exaggerations of reality, but something that seems so far-fetched that it couldn't actually happen, although there's things that you could relate to happenings in the real world in some way. Like maybe there's still language, maybe, or maybe there's still action that's discernible, but maybe it's just twisted in such a way that you can't quite believe it.
I've been really interested in like mutations like that we create. Like we have like this area in Raleigh, North Carolina that like makes like these science experiments and stuff where one of them has rat with an ear on top of its head.
Uh-huh.
And and so I was thinking, in the future, maybe we really learn how to mutate stuff
Oh
and we can
yeah.
like actually put like wings on horses and we sell
Hmm.
horses for like millions of dollars and we all fly fucking horses instead. It could be
Yes.
fantasy, but it
Yes.
would be great if we fly around on our horse.
It could be. That would be great. That would be great.
Then like, I feel like we go back also to olden times, like you hit my horse, you kicked my horse, we're gonna fly in the air with our swords
Uh,
and Like it just
Yeah.
puts you to the next round of like, what would that world be like? I mean, besides I guess shit falling from the sky, and you're like always having to like hold like a shit umbrella.
Yeah. Yeah. It still seems like it could be real.
Yeah. And this kind of goes back into my next question. Do you have like a favorite animal? Are you an animal pet person?
I don't possess or care for any pets at the moment. Um, I've really, I've really only ever taken care of some cats before. Fish. My favorite animal is a penguin.
Oh,
Yeah.
the only thing
Actually,
about penguins,
I have this
they
mug real quick. It's
oh,
I think it's actually a puffin. Someone insisted it was a puffin, but it's like a penguin. Oh, just sorry to be abrupt, but I also have this too. Just it could be part of the your experience, but I do have
oh
this.
my goodness.
Is something I do like a lot. I keep it up in the corner so I'm able to see it, which is a penguin.
Sorry about that one. Do you have a favorite movie?
Hmm. Let me think for a second. This is my like my knee jerk response, and I know this isn't true, but I think it's like I can. This is the first thing that comes to mind, but I know it can't be true, but I'll just say that it is because it could make sense. But I saw the movie Beau is Afraid
Yeah.
many months ago in the theaters, and I just really I really enjoyed that movie. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people could relate to the sort of like spin on, like, oh my goodness, it's just
It is.
it's all happening at once. That's not really my favorite movie, but to like
It's
answer the
not a
question
family
with
movie.
no, it's not. Thank you. With a sense of promptness, I'll say that, but I'd probably have to think like consistently, with just like sitting here and looking at the screen for probably like 3 minutes to give like a true answer. I don't know. It's something I've thought of very much, really.
Like some of the, all right, I watched you go and see Barbie and Oppenheimer.
I did see both of them. I did
Okay,
see
did you
both
think
of
one
them.
was better than the other? Like how they're trying to say this is that, or I think
Uh-huh.
it's the combined thing.
It would have been awesome to see them at people did like like you'll eat at a one full meal at a restaurant, then you'll eat another full meal at a restaurant. That
Yeah,
style with the Barbie and Oppenheimer. I did not do that, but I liked
same.
just to be clear. Um, but I did enjoy the Barbie movie. There was a whole crowd of people, it was packed. So I think like the camaraderie and like the reclining seats, like not to say that I was like distracted, but I think that it influenced my like enjoyment of the movie quite a bit. I enjoyed Oppenheimer too. It was so relentless, which
Yeah,
was nice too in a way, but it was just so many names and it was pretty like comical, really just like it would cut to like Johnson has to do this task and then like the professor has to act accordingly within the next 5 seconds. I found that to be
yeah.
pretty hilarious, but I enjoyed that a lot too. But I think I liked Barbie movie
Me too.
a little more. Yeah.
Um, yeah. To bring up full course meals, you have a favorite dessert?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I could answer this one in a shorter amount of time, but I'm still gonna have to think about that. Um, well, I would like to say ice cream, but I don't like to eat dairy as much. Okay, yeah, I think that the answer to that would be non-dairy Jimmy Fallon edition.
Non-dairy. Is that the Ben and Jerry's?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, yeah. As
I'm a fan. I don't think I've tried Jimmy Fallon's. What flavor is that?
um, I can't. Yeah, I will have to think about it. It will be a shorter amount of time, but I don't think I've paid quite as much attention to that. But it's like it's so dense and rich that
Mm,
like cookie like Oreo type like filling
Right up, yeah, right up my alley.
Like chocolate,
Cookie lover.
vanilla. Yeah, cookie lover type.
All
It's
right.
a cookie lover type, serving. I love that. But I believe this one was with almond milk, so it's a little easier on the maybe on the digestion, but it's a little less rich. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon edition. That one's my favorite dessert.
Now to mention your release that you put out with the orange milk, what kind of led up to doing that release? Like, were you making these songs and had it in mind for it to come out on an album, and you were trying to find like avenues, or did it all happen like naturally for you?
I think there was like a, I think it was natural in some ways. I think there was like an opportunity in some ways. Like I've known Keith, who is one of the two people, Keith Rankin and Seth Graham, who run the label. I've known Keith for many years and been in touch in various times in various capacities over the years. And I've known Seth a little, I know him much better now. Uh,
Yeah,
but just I think being from Ohio and being in touch with like the various music projects or sending albums to Keith over the years, or just like, hey, I'm working on this music now. I think I was at a place where I had compiled these songs and felt more in tune with my musical production and maybe the vision of my project that I, you know, told them I was planning to tour in support of a record, and you know,
yeah,
they both seemed to enjoy it. So I think it was just a matter of like kind of transitioning into myself into saying, I want to try to reach more people with this music. I feel confident about this. There was an opportunity because we were already in touch about, music with regards to other projects. And just knowing one or both of them for quite a while just seemed to make sense. The music maybe is less like attuned to some of the like other styles on the label, but interestingly, there was a few releases around that same time that were more like bizarre, like rock, kind of like destroyed rock
yeah.
music. Like this band Elite Terrorism Modulus put a record out on the same label around the same time. It was like, oh, this actually made more sense than maybe I initially thought, although I was very grateful for them to put it out. I thought, well, this seems different for what they generally do, but it's worked out great. It's been awesome.
If you could travel in time, would you go forwards or backwards?
Mm. If I could travel, like, so if I had the ability to go back in time, would like zoom, like I go back, would I then like start from that point going forward at a normal time, or are
Or
there
you could,
constraints?
or you could just like go there and come back.
I'll go back just to witness, just to bear witness to some things, because I think going forward is bound to happen anyways, unless I'm like, you know, I experience an untimely, or I guess timely death. I guess you can't know. So it's like, well, I'd rather let the future play out the way it's going to, but I could witness things from the past. Like, oh my goodness, that was like that. I didn't, create this false memory. Maybe I could like confirm more like situations, or no, I could just inform my current life a little more. Not that it's crucial, but I would like that. That would be nice.
Do you follow astrology?
Um, I think I know some like I wouldn't say explicitly like I have the app, the app with like gray and like black and white like images of rocks on it. They're like kind of artsy, like CoStar. I have CoStar,
I'm
and
familiar.
mm,
What do you think about it?
I like to probably like now at this point, like maybe 3 times a year, I'll look on it because I was like, oh, I forgot I had CoStar, and I'll look at that, and I like Oh, that reminds me. Sometimes I would like to go to Cafe Astrology, which is a website that'll give you readings. Maybe more during the pandemic, I was looking at that. Oh, I like it. It's just a way to, I don't know, just another lens, which is
Uh,
great, you know.
what do you think about like tarot readings? Have you ever gotten a tarot reading?
I think at the Renaissance Festival when I was like 9 or 10, I think I got one at that time, but no other since then. Yeah, some friends have done that before. Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's just like I know you're still like a human and you're still like communicating with like language, although it's like, oh, this indicates this. It's like, oh, it's fun because you're still a person that's like, processing the world. You're still just giving me a perspective, like not gonna, commit myself to it, but maybe it'll be like very insightful. I wouldn't approach it religiously, but I would approach it as like can appreciate the like
Guidance.
the motives and the guidance. Yeah, I would like to
Yeah,
appreciate the motives, although yeah, I would like to default to appreciate the motives, but maybe depending, I may find myself like, oh man, this is like I'm scared. Maybe they want me to think something a certain way, but I've never had that experience with tarot reading, and I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever had that experience with astrology either.
What do you think about crystals? Whenever you read stuff about crystals, do you think that you can relate to like it, how that affects you in your life if you keep it on you?
Yeah, I could think about it. I don't think I've ever read anything about crystals before.
Huh.
I don't think I've ever read anything about crystals. I think that I don't even know that in my like orbit of people I've been around, however that, that is like fluctuating all the time. I don't know that I've been, in the realm of someone else. It's like, oh, I just obtained this like quartz crystal. Yeah, I can know that quartz, like that's probably, one type of a crystal or some type
Yeah.
of something, but I would say that's great in the same way of like astrology or tarot reading, but that one's even more left field to me. That was like I would say even less insight uh, into that in my own life. But I say, oh wow, that's awesome. Somebody says, if you have this, unless they came up to me and they're like, like if you got the like
Yeah.
doing something like that, like I would still say, wow, 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 wow. But maybe I would think like, but I say that's great.
Now, whenever COVID happened,
Oh yeah.
I started to sit down and actually like read some of these bullshit books and led me on to eventually classic astrology. You
That's
can
oh
find at the
wow.
store.
Uh-huh.
And this is just one thing I love. To just for reference on this one is how very precise that they can be about your life in a book.
I
So
can't wait.
independent and assertive, sexuality can play a predominant role in a Scorpio's lives. And I think that's really funny how there's always, I guess, like tropes with every kind of sign. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah.
And I
Yes.
feel like it's the same thing with music. Like the moment that you hear like, oh, it's experimental music, you
Yes.
have like a automatic idea to shut it down, or like to if you're gonna look at it, it's like a very only if you're open minded, I guess, to it.
Mm.
Do you ever kind of find like bands yourself where you thought like you maybe not like to get into, then you find out that you like them?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that like, oh, I don't know about this. Like that's my reaction. I'm trying to think of a band like, oh,
Morgan Garrett's one of them.
like, oh, like, yeah, that's some weirdness, like, oh, that's like too weird. Uh, let me look at my Google, my music.
Yeah, lots of music, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because it's going to lead up
Sparks.
to my. Oh yeah, it's going to lead up to my next question. Favorite song and like music you've been listening to.
Oh wow. Sparks. Sparks initially, and I loved them.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I got it going on. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, thanks. Let's see. Okay. What I've been listening to recently, most recently, has been Bar Italia.
Huh?
And that's a band from London. and they've put out two records this year. One of them very recent, one of them some months ago. But I think my favorite song right now is a song by them called "My Kiss Era." I mostly listen to rap music. That's probably what I listen to more than any music. And I've been listening to a lot of the like Destroy Lonely, Ken Carson, Playboy Cardi. I'm like a fan of that kind of like, you know, like it's like kind of evil and destroyed, like sonically destroyed music.
What about
But it,
like classic like I'm Savage?
yeah.
That the classic like Drake and The Weeknd, and we
Oh,
have
that's great.
Lil Durk and stuff.
That's
Uh,
great.
have you listened to yeah, like have you listened to like the latest like Drake stuff? I always see like how they do these AI things,
Oh, it's
and
confusing.
and it sounds so similar,
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like you can listen to like the new Drake album and see like what they did with AI, and you're like, what it was AI doing,
Oh, they did that? That was what happened? It
Oh
was
yeah,
AI?
oh
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Oh, wow. Wow. No, I didn't know that. I only listened to one song and it was like a feature with Yeet. That was the only song that I've listened to. I like his music a lot as well. I listen to his music a lot.
What
Uh,
do you think about Kanye?
I think that his music is awesome. I think his music is amazing. It's
Gotta give it
unreal.
to him.
Very, very like influential, you know.
If you
I
have Kanye just making beats, you would have hits for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, I would think. I would
Yeah.
think. Yeah. I would
Um,
wonder. Yeah, yeah.
with
I
with
think
with,
his music's great.
with your music, you have like a diverse, like you kind of mix it up from having electronic stuff, and you also have like this industrial rock and like even like acoustic guitar stuff. Whenever
Yes.
you're working on that, are you kind of separating these tracks and putting them all together, or is it like happening all at the same time?
Um, at this stage, I now separate all of the tracks. They're all recorded individually, except maybe by happenstance, there will be like an acoustic guitar take that's directly in at the same time that I'm vocalizing, maybe. But especially on another record I'm working on, everything is very like distinct from one another. So I'll have a track of just vocals, or I'll have a track of just a synthesizer within the program Logic. I use Logic now. I used to use GarageBand, but I started using Logic a couple years ago. But they're all
Okay.
separate, so I'm able to mix and process the sounds individually, you know.
All right, so with Logic now, what's kind of like your main focus is whenever you're doing like, I'm guessing it's similar to like a Focusrite kind of end,
Hmm.
and or I got like this bigger guy, but
Yeah.
you're always kind of like running in like your gear, and
Hmm.
are you like later on just like editing, or you kind of like kind of doing it track by track, and then that's kind of how you're having them like layered?
I'm sometimes doing editing. Like,
Okay,
I think if I had to, somebody asked me about the how it's, I think, I think now maybe I'll record like an acoustic guitar part that's 45 seconds long, and I'll get that down, and then I am using that Scarlett, but it's four channels.
nice. I love those.
The one that
Yeah,
you have, but it's four channels. I'll use MIDI. So maybe I'll do like a MIDI controller, this one right here,
very cool.
to
All
do the
right.
drums,
Okay.
and to do synthesizer or whatever sounds. You know, say I'm play this note and it's gonna make, car smashing into a wall sound. Or like kick drum sound. I'll record a thing with like a condenser mic, like guitar, like with the sound of the room or straight in, and
Okay.
then I'll leave that. Then I'll record something else over top of it, and then maybe I'll just separate it and leave a blank space in the middle, and then I'll fill that with something else. So it just kind of forms that way, piece
Leave
by
a whole
piece.
blank space for freedom.
Yeah, thank you,
Whoa, that's insane.
thank you.
Can't say I've heard such a madman process.
Wow, I don't know. I don't really have a reference point, but I believe you.
So This one's kind of neat. Do you have a guilty pleasure?
Let me think about that within a reasonable amount of time. Um, like within 30 seconds, 15 seconds. Guilty pleasure? Trying to look around the room, like if some object may like incite some like knowledge here.
I would say mine's probably what, beer and hookers.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that true?
Oh, of course, you probably feel a little guilty after.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I could. I could feel guilty, I'm sure. Um, Guilty pleasure. Something like this isn't something I do, but I wanted to say like, you know, like before going to work, like laying on my car horn for 45 minutes straight, you know. But it's not true. But that if that were to be true, I would say that. So I would have to give a longer thought to that. My guilty pleasure is probably laying on the car horn for 45 minutes straight in a small neighborhood.
Oh yeah, so you did a really extensive crazy tours, like 30 plus days,
You're
and you were
right. Thank you.
yeah, going everywhere. So kind of talk a little bit about your tour that you just had.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was about 35 days
35, damn.
and or I think 35 total days away from home.
Yeah, 35
Um,
days from home. Yeah.
most of them were shows. I traveled with my girlfriend Shannon, who you know, was with me for the trip, and she did some of the merch. Um, we pretty much had a show every night. We had a few off days in Denton and Austin, which I really enjoy going to Texas because I have some very good friends there. I guess like a cornerstone of the trip, now that I'm thinking about it, was going to South by Southwest, which I'd never gone to before. I didn't actually attend any of the shows, but I did
It's
perform
a
at like,
fun, crazy time, especially if you're like home.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I believe that. So that was kind of what the trip was booked around.
People
We
that
weren't there
haven't
long.
never been is it's almost as similar to like a Mardi Gras that is like bigger than any kind of fair that you've ever been to.
Wow, I bet. I bet. Maybe I'll be able to do it again next year. Maybe it'll be more like, oh, I'm gonna go to the show, but I didn't do that really. But the
Okay.
tour was excellent. Simply, it was excellent. I think the shows were very well received. The live show was very well received. Um, I was able to get it booked, and we made it home safely. There was a
Yeah.
sense of accomplishment, and it was very joyous. There was no sense of like, oh, I don't know, or that was like really a bummer event, or something bad happened. Everything was like, I mean, I'm sure something bad was happening like constantly, like underneath it all somehow, but nothing obvious. There was no like
You didn't
obvious
get
like,
robbed or you didn't get stabbed,
no,
shot.
no, no. That was a constant.
What
Don't
about
get me
car
wrong.
troubles?
No, no,
No.
there were no car troubles. There were no car troubles. We got the oil changed in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That was where we got the oil changed, and
That's fun.
that was fun. Yeah, it was cold. There was snow on the ground in Fargo. It did not snow, but there was snow already there.
Yeah.
So we went far. We went across half of the country without the Northeast and not as far south as Florida, but we cut off half of it. Yeah, not on, but just out of necessity for like time constraints.
Oh, right. I mean, of course.
Other circumstances certainly. You know.
Oh yeah, so like whenever you were playing though, did you have like a favorite place or a favorite show by the time that you got home?
I think so. Yeah, I think probably like Cleveland, Ohio was really great. Um,
They go crazy out there, folks.
oh yeah, thank you. And Austin, Texas, they were both awesome. A lot of like, really eager people, you know,
Yeah.
like some of the people in Ohio I knew quite well, so it was like, oh, you know, come on, hey, buddy, that kind of thing, you know. So
Cool.
that was really nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. Chicago was a great show. Mobile, Alabama was great for like such a small town and such an obscure like, oh, I wonder how this will go, you know, and it
Right.
was awesome. It was great. It was great. It was great. Texas is always great. So anything that goes down there, I'm always like, oh, that was awesome. Some close friends down there.
Um, Here's a funny question. One random fact about yourself that you know.
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is this is very mundane, but it's a fact. It's a fact because it's on my birth certificate. My full name is Robert Morgan Garrett II.
Okay,
So my
Robert.
first, thank you very much. My first name is Robert, but I've always gone by my middle name, Morgan. I was named after my grandfather, my papaw, and he went by Bob. So I haven't actually asked my family in a while, like, oh, why'd you always call me Morgan? But that was what I went by. I always knew that was my full name, but that's a fact I know about myself. I can state that. I can state that as true because it's
Yeah.
on the government, like ID. That's true. That's a fact about me.
So, I'm a 1996 baby,
Oh,
but
wow.
as Jeffrey Michael,
Okay.
kind of from, you know, Michael Jordan, because my dad's a huge basketball fan, but it just so happens to be that my uncle's name is Michael. My
Oh,
dad's name is Jeffrey, so you know, he was like really quick to jump on that opportunity. Like Jeffrey Michael, it's in there, you know.
that's awesome. That's great.
But also, I kind of thought, you know, because sometimes, you know, whenever family will call you by your middle name, sometimes it was Michael, sometimes it was Jeffrey Michael, and I never ever kind of, you know, ever was like telling people, you know, call me, you know, full name Jeffrey Michael, Jeffrey or Michael or Jeff, you know what I mean? So,
Yes.
did you ever have like a nickname?
Yeah, Mogi.
Oh,
Mogi.
okay. How did that come
Mogi.
about?
Mogi. I think that was something that I think that was something my parents called me, and then I had some other family members that would just call me that as like, you know, influence from them, I imagine. I don't know. Maybe that was something I said as like a child understanding like language. Maybe, you know, like, oh,
Right.
Mogi, baby. Like, but I don't know. I really don't know the origin of it, but it's kind of like Morgan. You know, you like alter some sounds and that, and it's like it's close.
Do you know the origins of your name?
I don't know the origins of it. You mean like
Meaning or anything behind it?
I think like I think that when I was really young, I read this in a book, and like I actually, oh, Do you remember Big Bear? Do you remember the grocery store, Big
Oh
Bear?
yeah.
That was very close to where I lived. I was in line at Big Bear in Portsmouth, and there was like a book that was like, oh, your surname something something names, but I think it said like Calm
Yeah.
Ocean. I think it means Calm Ocean, but that,
Uh-huh.
you know, that info from the year 2000 book at the checkout line could possibly be like dated. But that was like what I had thought of in my head, like calm ocean. It could mean like weird goat, you know. I don't know, but I think that's what it is. That's what it said. That's what I reference.
Now I seen like you do have like you do have some music out there, but it seems like you're not like putting out like a bunch of singles or remixes and that kind of stuff. So like, do you still have music that like is unreleased that you like are repurposing or trying to find like, you know, a place for?
Um, I definitely have music that's unreleased. I probably like preceding preceding this music that I'm like completing now. I probably have like spines of so many songs. Some of them probably like sound terrible in terms of like the fidelity, you know? Some of
Oh
them
yeah.
like maybe like totally unfinished. I'm sure most of them are totally unfinished, but I do have like 10 or 11 songs that I'm just like waiting for a time. There's like, yeah, there's a plan for them. Like probably like announce an album a couple months from now, like some of the details surrounding that. But I do have music that I've been working on like very diligently since returning from that tour in April. So I have like a full album that's just about finished. It's basically done, but I've been mixing it and remixing it with my mastering engineer from the last album, Alex Nagel. We've been meeting up
Yeah.
weekly and we've been like mixing and he's been helping me produce some of the songs. But so I do have music that I'm sitting on, but nothing outside of that that's like, oh, I'm gonna do this and do this. But there is this album of music that's like, I will be doing this, but nothing else. Nothing else. I'm just really focusing on this body of work right now.
Not, I mean, not to downplay it because it's really good, and I was just thinking like for people that don't know who you are, that don't listen or haven't listened yet, how would you go about describing your music and what you do?
Oh, that's a great idea. Thank you. Yeah, I probably could have gone into that more initially. I was like a little nervous. I was actually very nervous. It's difficult for me to say these things.
It's true.
Uh,
I get that.
I would say the music is like bizarre rock, folk music. Um, People probably like, maybe call it like outsider rock.
Yeah.
Maybe like maybe there's like relation to that in some way. Noise rock, no wave.
Definitely.
But I think within it there's like even if it's like sort of distorted or strange, there's like a refinement in the production. So there's like these weird non-musical elements that are like, sort of in these like Appalachian folky styles of musicality, but it's like a little off. But still within that, there's maybe like a sincerity, and there's like an intention and attention to like sound surrounding it, or like the beat coming in at a certain time. There's a refinement in that, but the music is like in ways non-musical at times, and in ways it's like beautiful and strange. So I would say it's like strange, electronic, extreme electronic rock, bizarre rock, folk, ethereal, weird, interesting rock.
Whenever I've played your tapes to like people like hanging out in my car, coming over, or smoking weed and stuff, and there's always trying to like basically give it like a one word thing.
Oh,
And
that's great.
and well, yeah, I think that is to like an extent because you're like like what fits that, and also at the same time, I was like I'm like a big Nirvana Kurt Cobain head,
Okay.
and like some things I guess like he was really big on was like how in today's world and pop music and like rap industry we have the focus on like one word, two word songs, like one stop, everything like that. I guess like the way they Kurt Cobain looked at it is like if you found ways to put in like bigger titles because of like the song was actually good, the title announcement have to say, well, this is the whole damn song, and it's like, okay, like I really get it because like it's like I thought about you chose the actual name Morgan Garrett to put out music, and I'm sure you
Uh-huh.
thought of like band names. Did you ever kind of stumble upon like having like too long of a band name or like other ideas
Um,
where you're like, I don't know if people are gonna listen to that?
Not recent, not recently, not
Okay.
recently. The first band I was ever in was like an ellipsis, like dot dot dot, and it was called "But the Audience Was Deaf." And it was a
The
post-rock
audience
band.
is deaf. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it was.
very clever.
Yes, I didn't come up with a name, but that was a group I was a part of. But I thought, wow, this is a long name. I was in high
Yeah.
school, you were playing with those people, but like in college, those people meaning like college kids, and like yeah, rock. It was awesome, but it was a long name. I would say since then everything has been actually much more like compact. It's been more compact. I don't think I have had the. Let me think if there's any album. A lot of the album titles I use are short. A lot of the projects I've been have been like concise names or
Yeah.
letters. But
Yeah.
I haven't had that thought
You,
actually. I haven't had that concern.
you have also a really cool music video that I guess you shot yourself.
It could be if it was one in like a mirror, or there's
The
like,
one promoting the tape. Yeah, Extreme Fantasy.
yeah, thank you. It
It's
was,
yeah, it's like has like subtitles and stuff too of the actual lyrics.
hmm
Very cool,
yeah,
man.
thank you. Yeah, I did. I shot it right here actually. There's like this. I don't have the visual up, you can't see, but I shot it right here with my laptop video camera, and some of it
Okay.
was my phone, and I edited. I thank you for, yeah, I didn't know how that video would be received. I mean, certainly people, nobody said like that was terrible and I hated that. But I'm having trouble remembering if it was like that's sick. Like it was busy. So I really appreciate your, your sharing that. It means a lot. It really does.
Oh well, man. Like whenever I was first like kind of like I like listened to the tape pretty often, but whenever I was like first kind of getting back into it, it was like in October. So
Uh-huh.
like I put on the music video and like I was like, okay, like this actually fits like Halloween vibe if people like don't even know what the fuck this is.
Wow, wow.
And,
Yeah.
like it has like to me like that aesthetic of like have you ever like heard of disturbing videos where you're like, is this real or not? Especially with like the ghost paranormal stuff.
Oh, I can understand that. Yeah, yeah. I know what
Yeah.
like disturbing videos. Yeah.
Yeah, like it just kind of reminded me of like entity, like paranormal activity kind of esque, um,
Wow.
you know. And
Found footage.
oh yeah,
Like maybe found footage. Like, oh,
right,
Blair
yeah, like
Witch.
found footage, yeah, the found footage kind of stuff,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was wondering like, what was the inspiration behind that? You know, like how did that kind of happen for you?
Um, in one way out of necessity because I wanted to promote this song that I thought was like really interesting. So I said, okay, well, I'll film this myself. So I wanted to like embody something. I wanted to embody well, maybe embody, but also present how I moved to the song while performing it live. I'd performed that set and that song maybe 3 times before actually releasing the album. So it was like, okay, well, this is kind of what I'll do live. So I wanted to just like do this movement in my house, and like chop it up in a way. So I was like, I just wanted to do almost like, you'll see the like interpretive dance, like like do
Yeah,
this dance to this like rap song. I was like,
right.
okay, well, I'll do this like really abstracted version of this for my single, but it's also
Yeah,
what I do live, and it's just like not the exact same. Like I do this. I mean, I could, sure. I'm sure in ways it's been almost identical from one day to the next.
identical.
I'm sure
Yeah,
in some ways it's not, but yeah, I wanted to just represent like this movement, which is like very like res- restrained or constrained. There's like it's very tight, and I'm trying to like come out of this mode, so I'm trying to represent like, oh, I'm trying to like break free from this thing. But then the music opens up and there's this like metal drum, like guitar, like
yeah,
blasting open with sound. So it's kind of this like struggle and like weird out of tune synth. Everything's out of tune, but I'm trying to like move and sort of open up into some other place. But eventually it gets there. So I just wanted to like represent that because I think that's what it represents when it's performed live. It's like very like pained and just like stressful, but then it sort of like opens up in a more conventional like rock song,
yeah.
But I don't remember what the video does after that actually. Oh, I think I'm like falling through the door, something like that. So I guess there is a release.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if it was inspired by like these surrealist artists that have like this like absurd take on like one thing I've watched recently is like Yoko Ono used to like film really interesting flies and just would be behind the camera like and I'd be like brilliant, but at the same time like in today's world that shit would not fly.
Wow. Wow. I don't think I'm familiar enough with like art in that way, like, oh, this
Yeah,
artist doing this, or like, this. Certainly, there's inspiration in any of these things I witness. That's undeniable. Like I wouldn't attempt to deny it, but I can't reference like this person's thing I like a lot. So it's hard. I can't reference anything specifically because I just don't.
Were you ever a David Lynch fan?
Oh yeah, so sure, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
definitely.
right.
That would be like that's a great comparison because now I say absolutely anything from David Lynch is like that's a huge influence. That would be like the biggest influence in terms of performance, in
Right.
terms of like subtle like pauses, like not subtle but like pausing and lighting and like
Yeah.
just theater, the theater of music and the theater of performance. I would say I'm a huge fan of his style.
This one kind of gets me into like my you know my next realm of questions. This basically goes into the black hole. All
Okay.
right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But we'll start off with the fun one. Sativa or indica? Are you against weed?
I don't smoke weed. I used to smoke weed, but
Do
I
you want to
don't.
legalize or do you want to shut down?
I don't see why not legalizing it.
Right.
I don't have any like sensible, defiance to that. I imagine that like people that have like thought about it and that like
Right.
are promoting to say like legalize it. My instinct, leans towards that.
Right now,
Yeah.
it's still state to state for the whole abortion, and we also
Oh
have the
yeah.
whole issue with Carolina and down south and other areas with the bathroom situation. So, what's your take on
Wow.
sharing the bathroom with anybody, and what's your take on abortion?
Oh, I say, yeah. Let let the just let the doors open. Like just let that just be simple and let the abortion be simple.
And
Let
then here comes the fun question. Okay, what do you think that people were like? What do you wish that people were less afraid of?
um hmm, what are people very afraid of? Let me think of what people are very afraid of. I'll be prompt. Let me think of what people are very afraid of. Oh my God. Yeah, the people as a whole were so afraid of what? Um
Society, pills.
oh yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Pills. Yeah, it's probably good to be afraid of pills. I wish people were, yeah, I wish people were less afraid of fentanyl. um,
That's hilarious.
that would be a bad idea. I
I
think
just
that's
recently watched one of those movies on Netflix that had Captain America in it, and it's like about pill pushing.
okay.
Really, really incredible movie.
Oh yeah, I'm curious to see that. Is it like a propaganda movie?
No, it really does a good job at exploiting both sides. I guess they have like a different kind of avenue when like it all comes back in the end. What comes around goes
Okay.
around.
Okay, I see now.
Yeah.
What people, yeah, that's not a true answer, what I gave you, but maybe it's like one that could be taken a lot of different ways, but maybe it's true. Maybe it's kind of true.
Um,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
I definitely can relate because I think there's like a whole bunch of different kinds of things whenever we're talking about like finding ways to, in my now perspective of have peace or to find ways to like get to that point
Yeah.
that's just like always denied for so many different reasons. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and I feel like with music right now, whenever COVID happened, it kind of opened up the playing field for a lot of people to still like, okay, like this is what I've been doing, this is what I
Hmm.
like, or this is my passion, and I'm now like pursuing it because I have a new perspective on like my life. And
Yes.
do you think that kind of also changed like your trajectory of like your own viewpoints of like music and what you wanted to do from then?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I think there was like in the midst of it, I was shifting into making music and working on projects, but like we're coming out of it and like attending live events and like doing shows, things
Right.
like that. But I think when we like reoriented back to that over the past like year or like a little more than a year, I was finding like it was much more challenging for me to engage socially, in
Right.
a way that felt like true to myself. Um, It's something I ponder a lot. I can't articulate exactly why, but I think it did, to answer your question, change my trajectory and the way that I like choose to spend my time. Now I'm spending my time like my downtime is like really working on music
Okay.
constantly. Like it really is almost like if I'm not doing something like, you know, playful or like going to a movie or like eating dinner or hanging with my
Right.
girlfriend or a couple close friends. Like I'm just making music. Where before I might say like, oh, I'm gonna go catch this event or like gain some inspiration or socialize. Like all those are wonderful things. Those are like very healthy and important things. But I do think that COVID and art and socializing did affect my trajectory when like reacclimating. Like, okay, the masks are off. We're back in the real world. I'm not finding the same like draw to, you know, going to a show and like coming home late or whatever other variables associated with that. It affected my trajectory to like make more music and kind of refine my process uh more like intensely. I wouldn't say like psychotically. not that you
Get
not that you're
that.
telling me that. You don't think that. You're not telling me that. But I think that it's more like that's how I'm spending my time.
Okay, so I've also lived out in Philly. I lived in West Philly.
Okay.
And I always thought that the best place to get like cheesesteak and or like cheese fries.
Uh
Jennifer's Grocery. You ever heard of it?
no, I haven't. No, let me write it down. I'll,
Jennifer's Grocery. It's basically right next to where I used to live. But what area of Philly? I mean, you can just say east or west.
I see where you were at. Jennifer's Grocery.
Yeah. I was basically
Jennifer
in the college area too. Yeah.
Jennifer Grocery. No, I've
And
never been there.
oh yeah, so they have really great food. Oh man, it's some of and really great prices. They're hit.
I I live in Port Richmond.
Oh, I gotcha. I had a oh yeah, I totally know. I forgot
Yeah.
how to be. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's get back into the music scene out there then.
Mhm.
Like, do you ever got to open mics or like got to any shows and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know the last time I've been to an open mic. Um actually was I? Yeah, I do like to attend shows sometimes. That's been much less since returning from this tour. Like I can't
Yeah.
speak on it as much for the past like honestly 8 months. It's I've really been at home. I've been either at work, at my job, or I've been working on music. So like my perspective on shows is like it's so skewed. Although like I sometimes have booked them. I booked one
Right.
very recently. I hosted one and performed at it. I did like you know whatever over the years I've been here, and I know I have like a lot of friends booking noise, experimental, out music like
Yeah.
constantly. It's awesome. I think that like you know there's
Yeah,
a
the
lot
scene's still
happening.
building.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, there's a lot of like it's very active for all like styles of heady, thoughtful music. It's vast. There's events happening all the time. I just haven't attended them as much frequent like recently, but there it's happening a lot.
Now, here goes the next realm of the black hole. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
The last time you cried, how often do you think that you cry? Why do you think that people cry?
The last time I cried was, I think it was last Friday or Saturday. I was watching a documentary on a late friend of mine named Terry Turtle, who
All
was
right,
a
all
he
right.
was a guitarist and songwriter in this band Buck Gooder, which is him and my dear friend Billy Brett. two very close friends of mine, just like this industrial rock band from Harrisonburg. A lot of times I'll like if I'm feeling like down or I'll like I'll go to this video to watch it because the way that he speaks and just feels very like I wouldn't say kindred to the way that I carry myself, but like I feel like a very deep comfort in like witnessing him. So I have this
Yeah.
relic of being able to do that sort of like release emotion. So it was like a week ago watching that. How often do I cry? Oh man, I don't even know the last time I cried before that. Maybe like 4 months prior. There's periods of time I would cry, weekly, but I would say the past like 2 years, there will be like months in between the times that I'll cry. What makes people cry? I don't know. I
That's a
want
good
to
point.
say, I want to say sadness. I want to say like default to saying sadness is why people would cry, but another
Now,
part of me, yeah, yeah.
here's like the sweet part. That was the salty part.
Okay.
We're talking early memories, best memories whenever it comes to making music.
Oh wow, yeah. Early memories to making music would be going to my friend Isaac's house, who I grew up with and was like very close with in high school, playing a bass guitar, and he would play electric guitar, probably like 16, 17. That was like the best, earliest memories of like pretty much immediately collaborating with him, making like original music. I don't know that we really recorded any of it, but that was like the fondest memory of that. I also can remember like being 16. That was when I first like started making music. I got a bass guitar when I was 16, so I was like trying to emulate like yeah, I would say yeah, this is like a true answer to the question. It would be like watching like Terra Mellos. There was like a math rock
Oh my,
band.
yeah. Okay.
I would watch this session. It was like 40 Rods to the Hog's Head, which is their like epic like 9 minute track. And I'd watch their bassist play and I was like, what is like he's using these pedals like pitch and distortion. So I would like watch them and just be like, I think yeah, I don't have the technology. I didn't have the technology to like at that time to mimic it. But I was
Right.
like, oh, he's playing like high up on the neck. So early memories would be like watching videos of them and then just like playing with, whatever, and then playing music with my friend Isaac were like earliest, most pleasant memories of music. So age like 16.
Okay. And like I guess at that point, did you start recording? Did you start recording on tapes or like you always have CDs?
No, I think the first recording was like I was 17 with that post rock band, but the audience was deaf. Somebody had like they were in like college at Shawnee State University in
Okay.
Portsmouth, and they were doing like a recording program. We recorded one
That,
thing then. I never recorded anything until I was probably like 21, 22. I got like a tiny little like Tascam like 4 track.
okay.
Well, not a tape one. Eventually, I did use that to record, but I was probably like much older when I started doing that. I didn't really record until I was like 21, but that was with like other bands. Well, yeah, on my own. I was that age. I was in like a noise rock band called Sign Off,
Okay.
just out of high school. We were active for many years. It was just me and a drummer. We had a friend in my neighborhood, like my neighbor. Uh, he recorded like a project for us. But it wasn't until I was like 21, 22, I started recording on my own. Um, Mostly just like Tascam, and then I'd like drag it over into my laptop, or if I had access to like a interface, I may use that to record into GarageBand. So it's really been the past like 10 years I've been like figuring out how to record. Anything prior to that, I just relied on someone who's like, we're going to record this song now. So I didn't really
Well,
do it myself.
it's a great thing to mention because in this tape, okay, in this tape. You even have the lyrics and everything for it, so you can even download it and also read about it. But what I really do appreciate about whenever you listen to like the official hard copy, like over YouTube or Spotify, whatever you use, anybody's platform streaming, service, there's still that aesthetic of the tape and like
Mhm.
the different stuff. And like, did you kind of go ahead and like record some of that stuff and transfer it over, or was it like mastered on the tape and then transferred over?
Some of the background sounds
Yeah.
are were recorded from a 4-track tape. So like I would
Okay.
find this tape and be like, oh, this is something I did for my set earlier in the year. And then I would record it into my interface here, like the one that you have, the Scarlett, but the 4 channel. And then I would drop it into Logic. Some of it is just the nature of like the processing within Logic. So like the vocals are distorted because I'm running it through my like vocal chain, and then I'm putting a mild distortion in it, or I'm sending it into like a reverb channel that has a slight bit of distortion, or like the way that I EQ'd it and I mixed it, I think I'll tend to like mix in a way on my own that's like a little muddy and a little like kind of has the sound of a tape. Some of it was
Right.
extracted from tape onto uh, the into Logic. Some of it was just like the way that I process it digitally with like different VSTs or plugins. Um, so some of it still has that. Actually, I guess it really is kind of like murky. A lot of the recording is. It's funny because when I completed it, I was like, "This is like so pristine. Like this is such a like clear." But then when I
Idea
yeah,
for the song.
the idea is clear. The idea is definitely clear. But when I referenced it amongst like other songs at that time, I wasn't. I was just invested in what I was doing. I was
Right.
like, this is radio ready. This sounds like,
Like
Britney Spears or
vibrant.
something. I agree. I agree too. But but it's really pretty like destroyed. But I think a lot of the destroyed elements to it are some of it in that record is
Yeah.
from the tape. Some of it is just the
Okay.
processing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So one of my first interfaces that I got was like the Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40. So
Okay.
it has like hold on. Has 8 channels, nine, eight, nine, 10. So it has 10 channels all in.
Wow. Hmm.
But whenever I was first starting recording, I was trying to be like, I need to have everything DI in all of those channels and
Uh-huh.
have like speakers all around like the basement is where I was recording and have like, everybody I could possibly get to come over and just like play whatever so I can have recordings on all these fucking channels to like later on edit and have. Did you
Uh-huh.
like ever go through like the thing where you're like, I just want to like record stuff and like keep on recording so I didn't have to like worry about it and I can go back and listen to it and find out like what I can like edit and like or record or like do something with?
Definitely. I think there's some
Yeah.
records that possess that quality where it was like, okay, I have the drum machine set up. I have
Okay.
this set up. So I used to record actually like into my mixer, like an 8 or 10 channel mixer, utilizing all of those channels and then just
Right.
recording left and right into the interface. So I would do all of the mixing and all of the EQing in the mixer ahead of time. So I would some of it was like some songs, not on Extreme Fantasy. Some
Yeah.
songs prior to that would be just like it would end up as one stereo channel, but within that I would have like the piano pan to the right, and I would just play it like do do do. Maybe that would be the only time you hear it in the whole song. But it was like, okay, I can let the drum machine rock. So I'll press play and then I'll change that and I'll sing. Some of it, a lot of songs that I have, like I think on the album Never Seen Outside,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is I think that was pretty much all made like in just like one shot. So it'd be like, okay, I've got this one like good enough. Or like I would just be jamming and be like, oh, I should just record this. Or I've like freestyled some lyrics that work. But I think that album was made mixing into a mixer and then just 2 channels into that. So it's like, okay, I got to get it all done. But my output was much more like rapid. So I would put this album out and then I'd have another album and another album. So it's like I'd finish these songs and it's like, oh, they sound amazing. they sounded great to me then, but now I do it differently. But at that time, I would just get it out, get the idea down, get it down with like the full orchestra around it.
Right. This one I think is a pretty classic one. All right. Do you know how old you were whenever you first fell in love?
Oh, first fell in love. Yeah, I like first. Yeah,
Next
I
one
mean,
I got is pretty good too.
I wanna say like, with my like first girlfriend when I was like 16 or 17 is what my like initial thought is. I don't think I have like a romantic like
Oh, you want to hear a
I
fucked up story?
uh
All right, so I recently watched like this crazy movie where this guy, whenever he was like a kid, his teacher was like fell in love with him, and
yes.
so as he grew up and they like he let it all go, and like she got off and she grew up to have like a great life. She had a kid, and whenever the kid became like 17, the guy met the girl's daughter and got with the daughter to make a point, and then was
Oh
like,
my.
yeah, exactly.
Oh wow.
And then he was really after the mom the whole time, was just like, you need to come clean.
Wow, what's the movie called?
Oh, what comes around?
What comes around, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That was one of those movies where I was like that's karma to a T, to an extent of like a really big exaggeration of karma. Do you ever
Uh,
think like karma happens to people or yourself?
oh, yeah, maybe like maybe with like other language, maybe it is karma, but maybe that's like maybe the thought of
Right.
like things come around just from the way that you're like proceeding in life. Like maybe it's like, oh, I'm like you see this thing happen or like this thing happened to you, it's gonna come back and get you. Or
Yeah.
maybe that's not like the simplest term of like what karma is, but maybe I do believe in it, but more related to like the physicality of your like what you're putting out there. Like, oh, you're like acting in this way.
That's
Maybe
true.
if you like proceed in doing this, like you're bound to like, you know, welcome other related energies into your life that are like, you know, maybe leading you to some downfall or some like, challenging circumstance. Like, oh, I made this easy choice now, but like, this is maybe there's other like challenges related to this you don't see. Like this may affect you. So karma,
Yeah, yeah,
sure,
you're
but
right.
maybe in those descriptions I can say like, yes, I do think so, but in just the way I described it.
And all right, so this one's kind of funny. This is one of the few questions. All right, so
Okay.
this one's really epic. In a nutshell, if you had to write a short biographical, book about yourself, how would you start it? What, how would you include your story about yourself?
Yeah, I guess I would say like, um, I'm like, I'm a person from Appalachia that is uh, interested in language. I think maybe like the most simple, like the simplest,
That's a
like,
good short bio.
I mean, a man from Appalachia that's interested in language and the ways in which, you know, communication affects people.
Now, if you were in a movie, who would you want to play as you, as actor or actress wise?
Hmm. Let me think. Let me think. Thinking like, I don't know. There's like a Russian basketball player that's like 7 feet tall. But
Yeah.
I can't remember Vladi Divac.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I would have Vladi Divac play me in. Maybe he's not Russian, but I would have him play my um, bio.
Um, oh yeah, so I feel like this is the essential. I would say somebody that could play you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Vincent Gallo. Are you ever
Let
heard?
me let me Google him right now.
You'd be like, you son of a bitch.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
That
look
would
at
be
him.
funny, right?
Yeah, that would be awesome. He's in look at him go.
He I meant to say he's in Goodfellas, I think, or the Godfather. He's in some epic movies.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, I see.
Uh,
I'm looking at a picture of his eyes right now.
right. I feel like some people would be like, yeah, they'd be like whenever they'd have to find all the actors that could play you age. That's how movies go.
And he would be one of them.
He'd be you older and he'd be like, yeah,
Oh,
back in my day, I was playing noise, I was
yeah.
doing whatever, You just
Oh,
go.
I would like that. I would really like that. Yeah.
I just also like, what do you think about yeah, what have you been watching or listening to TV shows and stuff like that?
Definitely 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah,
I love the 90 Day
all of
series.
them, or are you caught up on which ones?
Well, they're still unfolding. By that I mean like there's still new episodes coming out for The Other Way. And then
Yes,
there's like I think we're on episode 5 of 90 Day Fiance, just regular 90 Day.
right.
But I really like Before the 90 Days is my like preferred like
Yes.
I enjoy that one. Some of the last season it was like wow, this was actually like a good season. Some of them you'll find like
Yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, it really
that's
highlights
good.
the like the horrors of Americans. Like really it's easy to say like Americans whatever, but like there's like the way that they present that like I've thought to myself like I wonder what like government entity is like funding the production at times where it's like
America is.
these people like this or doing this, ooh, this is gross, like almost intentionally presenting it. But
Yeah.
now there's like more of a like there's more of a like nuance to it, which almost feels like it's more compelling. Maybe I'm certainly being manipulated in some way, but I really like the 90 Day Fiance shows a lot. It is an interesting like I like the characters. Some of them do feel like characters, like the ones that come multiple times. I'm like, oh, they're compelling. Some of them, it's like, wow, there's like this is really so grim. Um, yeah, 90 Day Fiance. I've been going to the movies, but I don't even remember what movies I've been watching. I don't remember the names of a lot of these, but I've been going to the theaters quite a bit.
Oh,
Uh,
what was the last one you seen in theater?
God, it's hard to even. The last movie I saw in theater might have been Texas Chainsaw 2. Or,
Oh, nice.
I did see that in theaters, but there was a movie.
They
Hey,
did like the
me,
4K, the 4K thing.
it wasn't quite like. Well, actually, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. It was a Halloween thing, as you could imagine, with it being Halloween recently. But I don't even think it was like redone. I think it was just like we're gonna show Halloween 2, Texas Chainsaw 2. But I saw like a modern movie after that. I just cannot remember. I can't even remember anything about it. Like I know that I went and was like, oh nice. Like I
The
don't know what's
creation I seen, that was pretty good.
okay. The creation. Good.
Or it could have been like the creator.
Yeah, I bet. I wish I could remember. I don't remember though.
Oh yeah, so I feel like this is the ultimate vibe osmosis question. So if you were stranded on an island, but you could take one thing with you, what would you bring?
Yeah, I think just water. I think I'd give myself just like a serving of water just to say like if I'm like really here, who's to say that like the technology will like save me? It's like, "Oh, but you didn't know there's no service or like something creative." I think I would just give myself the one dose to just be like, "Let me just like see this last through. I'm going to like really cherish this final like give me like the cleanest water. Give me like the world's cleanest cup of water, and I'll just enjoy that and then I'll just be on my way. I'll just forget about it. So I'll just go then. If that's like my true circumstance, it's like I'm not gonna like bend to someone's like her, terrible like like authoritarian, like you're here, but I've given you this. It's like, man, if I'm here, then I'm here. Like I'm not gonna just like submit to your weird fantasy, just to like make me do this. Not you, not you. I'm not saying this to you, but like, oh no, the president made me do this. I'll just take one cup of water, one cup of good water.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking this time to join Vibe Osmosis. I hope it's a good rest of your day.
Thank you. I had a great time. I appreciate you having me very much. So interesting. We're from the same town. I love that very much. And thank you for having me.
Or I'll keep in touch about the show.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.